In this today episode and today video, I'm gonna be teaching you guys all the symptoms of a bad trinary sensor or high pressure sensor in car AC system. Why do I want to teach you that? Because I'm certain that most of the symptoms which you've gotten on the internet, most of them are not complete. There are still missing some little ingredients which you need to know, some little factors, some little fact which you need to know about this high pressure sensor on the high side of your car AC system. So if you're new to my channel, it won't hurt you to subscribe to my channel. And if you watch this video, which I'm certain is going to give you the right information to knowing a defective high pressure switch or high pressure sensor. Previously it was switch, but later it transcended from switch to sensor, and I'm going to be explaining that to you in this video. Now, when it was switch originally, you can see that in some of the old Honda model, you're going to be seeing only 2 wires. All right, in that the system is designed to actually close when it has attained from 50 psi to 60 psi across the circuit. I'm talking about between the high side and low side. When you're having around 60 to 50 to 60 psi within those ranges there, then the system should be able to power up if the high pressure switch is very good. Now I'm going to go ahead and take you over to the high pressure side so you know what it is and where it's located. For most of you who are actually seeing this for the first time, who might be encountering this for the first time, so you know exactly what you're dealing with and where it's often located in the car AC system. Now, most often times it's actually located on the high side, but there are some systems that have 2. They have the low side pressure switch as much as the high side. I've seen that on Ford Mondeo, and I believe that some of the Ford cars and some other cars might be having 2. But in this case, what we're going to be treating today is actually the high pressure sensor, because that is in almost 9 out of the 10 cars that you're going to be seeing on the road today. So you know how to diagnose it and know the symptoms when it goes bad. I'm going to be using this Volkswagen Jetta for my illustration today about a defective high pressure sensor that you can find in every car and every modern day car AC system. So when you pop up the hood open, it should be located on the far or left side, and it's mostly on the high side of the system. The high side, this is the liquid line, and this is the gas line. So it's often located in this liquid line that have the smaller pipe. So let's look for this one, the one for this very car here, and boom, there you go. You can see it right now. So that is it right there. So what are the symptoms of this very high pressure sensor? The symptoms are very few actually. The first sign of a very bad high pressure sensor, which is this guy here that is connected to this wire right here. The first is that the clutch won't engage. The clutch of the AC compressor won't engage. For this car here, this Volkswagen Jetta, it is clutchless system, so you won't even know when it's working and when it's not working. Only the cold air, because it's being controlled by this solenoid control valve right there, so you won't be able to know. But for most cars that are of older models that have fixed displacement compressor, the clutch won't engage. So if that high pressure sensor or switch is bad, it's not going to allow the power to flow through it. Then the second symptoms of a faulty high pressure sensor is that the car AC blows warm out of the vents. So you are inside a car, you turn on the AC system, but yet there is no cold air coming out of these vents. There is a right sufficient refrigerant for the system as required by the manufacturer, and the AC compressor turned on. You can see the clutch engaged, but still the air coming out of here is warm. There is often a possibility that there is no such scenario where the clutch engaged and the right quantity of the refrigerant is right inside there, and the high pressure sensor is defective. No, if the high pressure sensor is defective, the compressor is not going to engage, which is the first thing which I said there. And in leading to that, what's actually happened there is that it often cut off the power going to the compressor. That is rightly said. That is what it is. So there will be no power going to the compressor if the high pressure sensor is not good. How does it do that? Because the high pressure sensor is not just a sensor. It's not like like just a sensor to trigger on the AC system, but also to check if the system parameters which have been set by the manufacturers have been met with. And if it hasn't been met with, then it won't allow the power to go into the compressor. But if it has been met with, then it's going to allow the compressor to kick on. Then the number 3 is the radiator fan blows high. This radiator fan is going to keep blowing high. You're not going to see these symptoms in Toyota. You're not going to see these symptoms in in a Volkswagen like this one here, or even in Ford. You're going to see these symptoms in Mercedes and BMW. You're going to see that for most of them. For Mercedes and BMW, as soon as this high pressure sensor fails, the first thing you're going to be noticing there is that the fan is going to stuck on the high and revolving at a very, very high speed that you're going to be hearing. Okay, so when you heard that, there is every tendency that this high pressure sensor is defective, and replacing it is going to get everything back in place. The fan is going to come back to normal. So at that, you should know that it's no more just a switch, but there is sensor, which I said are the concepts of this very video here. Then the number 4 is that the compressor constantly locks on. A compressor lock is actually a problem. When the compressor locks, it's not going to spin, it's not going to turn anymore. So most oftentimes, people who actually go ahead to replace the compressor doesn't find out exactly what happens why the compressor locks on. There are a lot of factors that can actually contribute to compressor locking, like no oil, like too much refrigerant inside the system, and in this case here is a defective high pressure sensor can actually create a compressor lock. And how does it do that? It does that because it does that in a way that you don't know. Like when it's defective and is switched permanently on, even in the system that the refrigerant leaks out, and the pressure within this system right here or here drops below 50 psi or 60 psi, it's still going to permit power to go into the compressor. And when that happens, the compressor is going to start running without refrigerant on, and that's going to create the compressor to overheat. Not just only overheat, it's going to dry out the oil inside the system and start getting sticky, and the next moment it's going to lock up, or it's going to knock, just like your engine do knock. Then the next one, which is number 5, is the compressor continuous cycling off and on, off and on, off and on. When the compressor continues cycling off and on, with the first thing you want to check is the refrigerant quantity. Is it the right quantity that has been specified for that very car, make and model? If the answer is yes, that is the right refrigerant quantity for it, I want you to have it at the back of your mind that there is every tendency, 80% chance that the high pressure switch or sensor is defective. This problem which I'm talking about here is not synonymous with Volkswagen, Toyota, Asia model, but mostly Ford or American models. So when you are working on a AC system, car AC system, and they constantly switch on, off, when the right refrigerant quantity is inside, you should have it at the back of your mind that the high pressure switch is bad. So for most of you technicians who are coming across this for the first time, are going to be scratching your head trying to find a balance for what is going on. But that's the problem. The other last one, which is going to be the fifth one about a defective high pressure sensor, is leak. I found some few hand-picked high pressure sensors that are leaking. So, I mean, they do get worn out. When you're searching for a leak inside the AC system, don't exclude your high pressure side. When the leaks refrigerant, it can create all kinds of nightmare because you won't even know that that's actually where the problem is coming from. But most of them, that's likely to happen. It's a very rare occasion, but I found those kind of problems in car AC systems. So when it starts leaking, it's a sign of it being defective and it needs to be replaced. It can be repaired. I hope you find this information very helpful to diagnosing a bad high pressure sensor, a defective high pressure sensor in your car. If you do, kindly subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. I gotta catch you guys later. Bye for now. Bye.